guys, it's the 8-Bit Music Chicken here, and welcome to the 8-Bit Music Chicken Gaming Show. Now, a while back you may remember that I reviewed the Atari Flashback 4, and recently the Atari Flashback 5 was made, and I was seeing a review by it on YouTube by Gamester81. And if you don't know who Gamester81 is, he's a great YouTuber who makes really good reviews, and I'll put a link to the video of his Atari Flashback 5 review in the description. But I haven't owned the Atari Flashback 5, but I was seeing his review on it, and apart from a few extra games added, I won't lie, it looked exactly like the Atari Flashback 4. And if you've already owned, like in my case, if you've already owned the Atari Flashback 4, there isn't any reason to justify getting an Atari Flashback 5. But I have an idea of a future Atari Flashback console they could make, and this idea is the Atari Flashback Portable, because I would love to take these Atari games on the go. And back in 2007, the Atari Flashback Portable was announced. It was going to be made by Kurt Vendel and the Legacy Engineering Group, but it never came to be, and that is really disappointing. But instead of making another Atari Flashback model that's almost exactly the same to previous ones, I think it'd be so cool if they just actually made this a reality, because I just think an Atari Portable would be amazing. And this video is going to have me telling you, if they did make an Atari Flashback Portable, what I'd like to see in it. So, I hope you enjoy. First of all, let's talk about the games that would be on it. And to be honest, I think the games that have been on the previous Atari Flashback console have been great choices. The Atari Flashback 5 had 93 built-in games, and as this is good, I think just to make it an even number, with the Atari Flashback Portable, if they were to make it, they should make it 100 games. Although I don't really think the focus should be on games with this handheld. I think it should just be doing something different to the previous ones. And I don't think they'd do this with any Atari Flashback console, but it'd be so cool to have a cartridge port so you can play your Atari 2600 cartridges as well as the games built into the handheld. And that'd probably never happen, but as long as there's like a decent game library like there have been in previous Flashback consoles, I'm happy. Now let's talk about all the buttons and controls I'd like to see on the Atari Flashback Portable. Now, here's the Atari 2600 controller, and it'd be cool if they incorporated this into the handheld somehow, but as it is now, it may be fairly hard. An idea I could propose is having like a joystick just like this at the bottom, and then a screen on top here, so you're playing it like that. And as this would work, I'm not sure if it'd be the best, because if you're going to make it pocket sized, there'd be a giant joystick sticking out, and I'm not sure how good it'd look with a giant screen on top. So it'd be okay if they did that, but I think there are better ways that they could do it. If they were to do it differently though, they wouldn't really be able to have a giant joystick. So what could they use? They could use a D-pad, that would work okay. But alternatively, they could use a small micro-switch thumbstick like the Neo Geo X had. I did a review of the Neo Geo X a while ago, and this I think would work with most Atari games, although a D-pad would be fine too, just like a button and a directional pad. It'd be cool if as well, like below whatever they choose to be the D-pad, if they had a small paddle controller for like games like Pong or Breakout. So I think that would be perfectly doable, and it'd be so cool, because one of the complaints I had with the Atari Flashback 4 was that some of the games were hard to control with the joystick if they were designed for paddle controllers. Now let's talk about the aesthetic looks of the console, and I'd like it to look somewhat like the original Atari 2600. but this may be hard as the Atari 2600 is a home console and obviously this would be a handheld. But I think they could easily do some like nods to the original system. They could do this by giving it like a ridge style with putting ridges on it like the original console had. Not in a way that makes it uncomfortable, but just a way you can look at it and think, hey, that reminds me of the Atari 2600. As well as this, they could put the switches for things like switching between levels and difficulty or resets and whatnot at the top. Obviously they wouldn't be great hulking switches like the original had, but just small ones, but just enough to think, hey, that looks like an Atari 2600 shrunk down with a screen slapped in the middle of it. So that's pretty much what I'd like it to look like. Now, I'm not really sure what to categorise this as, but these are just some extra things I'd like them to include. It'd be cool if they put 2 controller ports on it, and maybe a port so you could hook it up to the TV. It'd also be nice to see some headphone ports on this, so you can listen to it, although the Atari 2600 sounds are very primitive. It'd be a nice feature to have it hooked up to the TV, so it's basically everything that the old Atari Flashback consoles had, but then there's the added giant bonus of taking it on the go. And with the controller ports, if you don't like the way you control it for any reason, you can easily just use the originals, whether it be a joystick or a paddle controller. So that's pretty much it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you think they should make an Atari Flashback Portable, post it in the comments. Hopefully if they see this, although it's very unlikely, and they take my ideas into account, this could be a reality. Most likely not, but you never know. So I'll see you next time guys, and goodbye.